it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, June 24th. So the moon is going to be in Taurus all day. Things are low, things are slow. We're trying to stick with what is tried, tested, and true. We just want to focus on what makes us happy, what brings us joy. We're only taking action if it's deliberate, if it's intentional, if we know that it's going to contribute to our long-term plan. We just want to slow down. We want to smell the roses a bit. We just want to stabilize in our emotional field, which now in Cancer season is going to be a pretty hard feat because Cancer season, water energy, we got to go with the flow. Sometimes it's choppy, sometimes it's calm. Sometimes it's a tsunami, sometimes it's a peaceful, dribbling little river. We have to morph. We have to go with the flow. We have to expose our emotions, our unconscious self. We have to do a deep dive into our unconscious, into our past, into our emotions, into our home, into our family dynamics in order to recognize what is changing, what needs to stay, what needs to go, where new boundaries need to be created and implemented in order for us to find safety and security in our lives, regardless of the storm that may be weathering outside of our inner realms. So the moon in Taurus here today, there are 6 different aspects, and the moon in Taurus are involved with 5 of them. The moon right out of the gate is going to be semi-squaring with Neptune. So Neptune is in its place of power in Piscean energy, water energy, all up in the feels, mostly though Odin La La land, Odin dreamland, in our spiritual realm of existence, if you will. Now, here's the problem. The semi-square is a tension point for good reason. We need to have tension in order to realize where change is needed the most. The moon in Taurus, very content, very happy to be stuck in the here and now, in the present moment, doesn't really want to look back, doesn't really want to look forward. Neptune in Pisces wants to do nothing but look forward because we have to continue to remind ourselves of the dream, of the vision, of the goal in order to stay inspired and motivated, in order to stay, let's say, fully aware that this is what we're fighting for. This is what we want. This is what feels good. This is what is calling us. This is our mission. This is our purpose. The semi-square is creating friction because, again, the moon in Taurus doesn't really want to go that far into the future. And because of that, because it's so freaking hard to be content in the here and now and not let ourselves kind of float off into la la land, we're going to feel this internal battle, this little bit of conflict. Now, the moon in Taurus really puts the blinders on. We don't want to go outside of the realm of our current existence. But what happens when we put so much effort into trying to stay in the present moment, especially when the present moment isn't so happy, isn't so fun, is that our emotions get muddy. They get cloudy, right? Neptune in Pisces, water. Moon in Taurus, earth. What happens when water and earth get together? Well, you could get a pretty muddy emotional state, or those emotions, that constant repetition of feeling, of intent, of action, chipping away at that earth could actually change some physical circumstances. I honestly don't believe we're going to be making much change here today. The itch for change is very high. The want, need, and desire for dramatic change and improvement is super high. I just don't think that we're taking the actions or making the moves to actually make the kind of changes that we're currently desiring, which can be frustrating. We can be very stuck in our ways, stubborn in our ways, not willing to budge, not willing to think outside of the parameters in which we feel comfortable in. The moon is going to bump into Mercury. Mercury rules over the mental plane in its place of power in Gemini, still trying to debate things out, trying to find a common ground, come up with new ideas, communicate effectively with confidence. But here's the thing, the moon is our heart space, Mercury is our head space, and the aspect in which they're making is not a positive one. So our heart and our head, not on the same page at all. Even more than that, the aspect that they're making is likely going to trigger an activation in our external realm that doesn't make us feel so good, first of all, doesn't really make us feel safe and secure and stable to sit in our little comfort zone of the here and now. The events that are popping off are more mercurial based, which means that we're constantly having to make a choice to decide, to choose a path, a direction, which means that we have to think about the future, which the moon in Taurus does not want to do. The situation that I feel is kind of transpiring here, because the moon is in Taurus, we're very focused on our, emotionally speaking, fixated on our physical realms. Yes, we want change. Yes, we desire change. Yes, we've been praying for change, but to actually do what you got to do in order to have that change is hard. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, is up here just with ideas and topics and themes and conversations and just all kinds of information popping off, pushing us to try to debate certain, extreme topics and ideas and points of view in order to find a common ground for us to say, yes, that makes me feel good. That's what I want. That's what I need. That's what I desire. The moon in Taurus doesn't want to do that right now. We just want to stay in our comfortable little zone where we push everything out, where we don't want to think of anything new, which is a conflict. Another reason why the heart and the head is not on the same page. To add salt to the wound, the moon is going to bump into Chiron. Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries energy, showing us where it is that we've accumulated some ego identity wounds with the ever-changing environment in our physical circumstances. What I will say is that the earlier situation that popped off between the moon and Mercury will be amplified throughout the whole day of us trying very hard to stay stable, stay in this little realm of comfortability in our emotions, while there are some serious triggers and activators popping off in our external realm that's trying to invoke a certain reaction out of us so that we leave our comfort zone in the here and now and we do the deep thinking work that we have to do in order to decide one choice point over the other. Even more than that, this is going to illuminate for us, because it's Chiron, because this is a negative aspect, this is going to illuminate the shadow part of the emotions that Taurus energy brings us, which means that we're rigid, okay? We're cold, we're stubborn, we're fixated. We have to remember what represents Taurus, the bull, right? We feel backed into a corner. We feel like we are just kicking up dust right now. We're trying so freaking hard to stay stable, to stay calm, but there are things just popping up in this china shop that this bull is about to just kick all over the place. We don't want to make a mess. We don't want to pop off. We don't want to create drama, but Lord knows there's some situations taking place outside of us that are definitely pushing us in that corner where we are going to have to lower our horns and we are going to have to start stabbing people in the butt. To add to this, the moon is going to conjunct, sit next to, meet up with Uranus in Taurus energy. This Uranian energy, typically speaking, affects the central nervous system. This gives us anxiety, gives us jitters, gives us a little bit of edginess that we would prefer not to sit in. This Uranian energy always shows us where it is that we feel like we need a little bit more independence, where we need a little bit more freedom, where we need a little bit of a space in order to figure out our emotions. This is going to add to the itch for change that we've been feeling, that we've been sitting in. This is an electric shock to the system. If you're into tarot, this is the Tower card. There is a disruption. There is a change in plans. There is a zap of energy coming in, totally altering our thoughts, altering our emotions, altering our physical circumstances. This needs to open us up. We need to be cracked open in all the right ways in order for us to open up our mind to a new shift in paradigm, new shift in perspective, new shift in emotion, therefore, eventual shift in circumstances. This is rattling us up in all the right ways, but also creating a little bit of instability in our physical realms, playing off the earlier situations where you would be lucky to stay emotionally stable. You would be lucky to stay grounded. You would be lucky to sit in the positive vibes of this is what's making me happy. This is what's bringing me joy. I am in comfort. I am blessed. That is going to be a very hard mind frame to keep up for the run of the day. Doesn't mean that you can't work hard to stick in it, But just know there's going to be a lot of activators in your physical realm that are going to be plucking that last nerve of yours just to see how much you can take before you pop off. Adding to this, Jupiter is going to semi-square the true node. Jupiter wants to magnify what's your plan, what's the path, what's the mission, what's the purpose. Of course, the moon in Taurus doesn't want to think that far ahead. Jupiter wants to provide us with an opportunity to see that these outside triggers and activators are really providing us an opportunity to grow, to push the boundaries of our mental plane, to push the boundaries of our heart space, to open us up to where it is that we can cut the cord with the old and jump into starting fresh and initiate and begin something new. However, this semi-square is a lot of tension. Why are we having tension? Because again, we've been praying for change, and yet when the opportunity strikes for us to make a move, we chicken out. That's okay. We're getting primed up. We're getting prepared. Okay. Don't look at it as a failure. Don't look at it as a disappointment within yourself. Look at it as if the conditions were not right in order for you to feel 100% sure that it is worth the time, energy, and effort for you to actually make the move and aggress yourself forward. Here's the thing though. The moon is going to semi-square the sun. Another very tension-filled aspect. The moon in Taurus right now is so dug in, right? That bull is just dug its legs into the dirt, just kicking up some dirt. We don't want to budge. We don't want to move. Our back is against the wall. We just want, we want the China shop to stay in one piece, but y'all are really pushing. Y'all are just asking for me to just tear up this China shop and break every damn piece up in here. Then y'all are going to be sorry because I destroyed a China shop. You got the sun over here in Cancer, illuminating for us where our emotions are just choppy as hell, where it is that our home and our family dynamics are popping off to the extent where our boundaries are being tested, where it is that we are being forced with our back against a wall to make the major changes that we're scared to death to make. There is an illumination right now on the past, on the future, leaving us here in the present moment saying, what am I going to do? We have an opportunity for growth. We have an opportunity for change, but that opportunity for change needs to start in our emotions first and foremost, the moon in Taurus, then in our mental plane, Mercury and Gemini, before we can assert ourselves ego-wise with the sun in Cancer. We're shining a bright light on what it is that we need to embody in order for us to actually move forward. Now, we're highly defensive. We're super protective with the sun in Cancer. This is easily irritable, easily triggered, easily activated, especially when you come at us or come at the people that we love. Right now, it almost feels like the people that we care about, the people that we love, are the ones coming at us. This is going to put us in a situation. This is going to apply some pressure. This is going to add some tension in order for us to figure out where it is that we need to move away from and where it is that we need to move closer to. Emotionally speaking, it is not so good to be this revved up bull in the corner of the China shop ready to pop off and bust up all of this glassware, okay? That looks like big bills coming at us to clean up this mess. However, our emotions are at the point where we may not have control over ourselves when we hit that red line because our emotions are being activated in a way, deep-seated emotions from our inner child, again, Cancer season. We have to recognize the primary root of the activation of the trigger. Are we going to figure it out right away? Nope, probably not. But we have to be pressurized, put in a tension point, put in a situation that we don't ever want to be in again before we're going to do the inner reflective work that we need to do in order to identify the root primary cause of the trigger and the activation that we're currently experiencing. That's how the shadow work works. So we are kind of building up, right? Keep in mind, tomorrow, Saturday, we're moving into the new moon window. And we're moving into the window in which Neptune is preparing to go retrograde. We also have a pretty intense aspect taking place tomorrow between Mercury and Pluto that is going to basically wind us up in all the right ways, put a lot of mental tension, a lot of mental pressure on us. We're going to be highly irritable because this is quote unquote the breakdown before the breakthrough.